You're 8 dates deep and he's sleeping with another girl in his bed for 3 weeks.
And making you feel bad for having some sort of reaction to that, for feeling like, is this normal?
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Life Uncut. I'm Brittany.
I'm Laura.
And this is Ask Uncut, where we answer your deep, your dark, your burning questions.
How burning are they? You can get
They're
treatment.
pretty burning today.
You can get treatment for that.
Yeah, they're pretty burning today. You know, you guys go through flows. You go through flows where you're okay and you're healthy mentally, and then you go through days where you really need us and they're a bit deeper.
I almost disagree. I think that sometimes it depends on our mental state, because there are some fucked up questions that come through and we're like, I don't have the capacity, the bandwidth, or the emotional intelligence to be able to answer that question. Good luck. Go to therapy.
To be fair, we do. Obviously, we have big conversations before we get into these points. We vet your questions.
Don't make it sound like we plan that much.
No, but sometimes
don't oversell it.
Sometimes we read your questions, we read them out to each other, and sometimes we're like, that one's a bit too cooked. Like, that's not making the cut. Like, that's too far. But before we start, I did want to tell you about a new dating term that I came across, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Now, it's not news to you guys, but I don't froth a dating term. I think we label too much stuff. Like, every second week there's a different label for something. Let us just live, right?
I kind of love a dating term, though. I love a new age, like, because you think we would have run out of them by now, right? You think that every single dating term that could possibly exist has already come out. And then every so often there's a new sex position, which we all know that I can get around. Not actually around the sex position, just the name and the definition.
You're not doing much at the moment.
Literally. Tried to have missionary on the weekend.
How'd that go?
Fucking lol.
But that's an unusual choice of style for 8 months pregnant.
You're like, can Matt see you over the, over the hump?
It's so weird.
How does he even reach you if he's on your belly?
I know, we've really taken a detour. I don't know. It just doesn't feel good to go straight if you're having a quickie, being like, go on the side. Like, it just doesn't feel very romantic. Or like straight into doggy. Like, it all just feels a bit extreme.
But how does missionary even work when there's such
well,
a big belly?
how else? Of course, if you're on, wow, sorry,
you
everyone.
just have to, then you have to support your belly as well?
No, it's kind of nice because it just hangs. It's like you don't have to worry about it.
No back pain.
No back pain. It's really good. Downward dog. Is it the downward dog or is it the cat thing?
That's a yoga move.
Oh, no, the downward
Cat
dog is
cow.
wrong. It's the cat to cow. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Moo.
How does the missionary actually work when you're 8 months pregnant?
Not well, let me tell you.
Like, do you move while you're doing it?
That's how I feel at the moment. Let's get back into the new dating term.
Well done to Matt if he can maintain an erection through that.
He did great. Well done.
Pregnancies turn people on.
But mooing wouldn't.
Maybe.
Everyone, we've already established before, Matt's even said it on his own podcast, he has a pregnancy kink.
Yeah.
I am the one that's not as into it this pregnancy because I feel...
Do you
I
reckon
feel like I've been through a lot.
Hey, no, back to the dating term because we did take a segue.
Sorry.
Shrekking. Now, this is the term, and it's based off the franchise Shrek. The term refers to hopeless romantics who purposely settle for someone less attractive than themselves, like Princess Fiona does in Shrek. I think of it this way. I'm thinking like people that have just had enough. They can't find their prince that made me feel sick. Their prince. They can't find their partner, soulmate, love of their life, whatever. So they actively say, do you know what? I'm going to intentionally go and find someone that I deem less attractive than me on the attractive scale, because that way they'll feel so lucky to have me that they're just going to give me everything else I want and I'm going to have this wonderful life. So they're choosing to, in inverted commas, date down aesthetically to find their soulmate.
This is really mean.
It's
also,
so mean.
It's really mean to wake up in the morning and be like, yeah, all
Guess
right.
I'll find someone ugly.
You know what? It's not working for me at this point, so I'm just going to go for someone who I deem conventionally unattractive to me. Like, who hurt you?
I think it depends on the scale, because I actually think that there is a good thing about being a little bit more realistic of thinking, well, you know, I've dated all of these people that I've thought were super hot. It hasn't worked out. Maybe I need to try something different. Maybe looks is a part of that.
Yes, but there's a very big difference between being like, okay, I'm going to broaden my dating scope. I'm going to stop having so many limitations with like the type of person I think I'm attracted to because maybe they're not good for me, and purposely going after someone who you deem in your mind as being unattractive. Like, that just seems... It just seems weird.
I think there's a difference between unattractive and less attractive than what you would typically go for. And I think that that's where the grey is that I'm at. I actually, the part of this, I understand. And I think that maybe if we put less emphasis on physical appearance, we might have more of a chance to find
But
your penguin.
that's the difference, Keish. It's not about putting less emphasis on it. It's about people actively saying, oh, I'll just go for someone ugly and settle. Like, I absolutely think that looks are not everything and they shouldn't be the number one thing that you focus on, because it's cringe old saying, looks are going to fade, but, you know, your personality, your humor and your morals are going to last forever. It's actually so true. And
Frit's like, oh, we've all heard it.
we have. Looks fade. It's not
La, 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 la.
It's not a new take. Like, I think if you're that superficial that you're only looking for that, and it is hard because we live in a world where we're online dating and it's based on superficiality. Like, you're literally swiping half the time. You're not even reading their prompts. You're swiping based on one picture and if you think they're hot. So it's easy for us to sit here and say that. But like the idea of intentionally shrekking. But this is where it takes another level, because if you're shrekking, that opens you up to being shrekked. Now, being shrekked, what happens is, and I'm saying this is from the study, not me. Being shrekked is when you started with the shrekking, so you've intentionally gone to find somebody that you think is less attractive than you so that they treat you better. But then you can be shrekked, which is when they then say, I don't want to be with you, and they break up with you. You've been shrekked because you, in your mind, should never be dumped by someone that you think should be treating you like a princess because you're so hot. That's what people are saying.
Yeah, but I also think if you actually unpack this, if anyone is doing this and the fact that this even exists, let's just all realize how much of a fucking asshole that person is in the first place. Firstly, to think that you're better than someone, and secondly, to think that you're too good to be dumped by them. You're kind of the person who deserves to be Shrek.
No, I felt like I've been Shrek before, and not off aesthetics, but like I have back in my dating times, and it was never like a serious relationship, but you know when you're so desperate to find someone to be with. Like, we've all been there. I was in the depths of despair.
Desperate.
So I was like really wanting to be with somebody. So it wasn't about looks wise, but people that I knew were jerks or assholes, or I just let so much slide. And I remember, I think I would have said it to you, Keish. I remember then they're like, hey, I'm just not into it. It's not going anywhere. I was like, the audacity of that walking red flag to not want, like I was like, I treated him so well. And there's a feeling of like, I don't know what the feeling is, but it's like, wow, like you've been such an asshole and you still dumped me. And then that goes back to, it's not me feeling like I'm too good for him, but I remember just being like, wow, I'm doomed. Like, if I can't even lock this deadbeat down, I'm doomed.
It's so funny you talking about this, like getting shreked, because I've just had the thought, and I've said to you a couple of times, like some of the people that I have been fortunate enough to hook up with, I look at them and I'm like, wow, you did me a favor. Like, I don't know what was going on in their life at the time. There are some of them that I am like, you are objectively very attractive. And I'm kind of thinking now, I wonder if they were a bit like, yeah, I gave that girl a chance and also I got shreked. Like, maybe they were trying to date down.
But at least did you then break up with them? Because
no, you
probably not.
So it doesn't count.
You never shreked them, Keish. You'd never shreked them. That doesn't count. You would have like clung onto them like a koala.
I was like, please be with me. It worked out for Fiona.
Literally, like, they're so hot and so problematic and you're still hanging on. The car's driving away. You're like holding onto the exhaust pipe.
100%. Metaphorically, that happened more times than I can even count on my fingers. But
hey, if you're banging that many great people.
Look, I mean, yes. And thank you for those. Thank you for those people. You've done me a
Thank
favor.
you for the charity work.
Thank you for the charity.
Not all heroes wear capes.
You know what? I think that for me, the way that I read this, it actually, and maybe I've misinterpreted it. I read it more as like a bit of a whole experience of the person. Like, whether you've got your shit together. Like, there were times where I was clinging for life to try and get a job, and like, I couldn't really find anywhere to live, and I was depressed and I was sad from a breakup, and I'm kind of thinking about those times where I'm like, wow, I just really didn't have my shit together.
My experience of this is when I was devastated that the man who didn't have a mattress and basically slept on clothes
Still dumped you.
and broke up with me.
Yes.
I was devastated.
That's what I mean. That's where I read this shrekking thing as like, it's not so much about looks, and maybe I am misinterpreting it, but I think about the man that you dated who had a mattress on the floor,
fair,
and I'm like,
I joke, he had a mattress, but he had no sheets or doonas or anything, and just kind of slept with extra clothes.
Dude, and you got shreked.
and he broke up with me, and I was so sad.
There was the guy, remember the guy?
I think I'm still getting over it.
The guy I went on the date with that when he picked me up and he was like, are you going to wear that? Then he made me pay for lunch. I was still devoed when he didn't want to date me anymore. And I was like, I look back at those points, that's getting shreked.
All I take away from this is that we are also the problem in this equation. Anyway, let's get into vibes and unsubscribes. All right, I have a very specific niche one to people who are pregnant and are going into having a baby. If that's you, this will apply to you. If not, fast forward a minute. I have now tried literally every single type of maternity pad that there is. Like that postpartum phase is fucking hectic, and like you have to wear a pad because you bleed a lot postpartum, especially if you have a vaginal birth, and you have to wear liners, you have to wear pads. And you get the big hospital ones, which are super effective because they're enormous. But then after that, you're
Like a cushion.
it is like a bedspread that you just kind of anyway.
Duvet. Just put your duvet under there.
There's like a mattress
100 thread
topper
count
inside your underwear. But then once you leave the hospital and like your supply of that is gone, you have to then fend for yourself. And I have tried every single brand. And when I had Lola, a really close friend of mine who has kids was like, oh my God, you have to try this one. They are amazing. It's Tom's organic maternity pads. They don't have wings on them. They're all cotton, but also the thing I don't like about most pads, and I don't know if other people have this experience, I feel that they feel plasticky. I can feel them and they don't feel like underwear. Whereas this has the texture of and feels like you've just got cotton underwear on, but it is a pad and it is as effective as a pad.
Can you wear like the period undies, the heavy period undies, or are you bleeding too much that there's like more than that?
You absolutely can, and there are maternity versions of it. I don't enjoy them at that peak time of like when it's
Feels like too wet.
It's just there's just too much.
Yeah.
There's too much happening down there. Like you really need some extra support. And
Need the duvet.
So and the reason why I'm recommending this, I just did like a massive stock up on the weekend. I was like, oh my God, if this is going to hit me anytime soon, I need to have them in my drawers. So I just went and bought a whole heap of them. But Tom Organics maternity pads, they are like sitting on a cloud. They are amazing. So that is my recommendation.
Why do I have, maybe you can answer this because I moved into your house.
Maternity pads.
No, but I have.
Can I have them?
I have loads of nappies in my house, and I, for the life of me, do not know
I
where
know
they
where
are.
they came from.
They would have come from Maya and from Sherry.
They didn't.
Oh,
They came-
Delilah.
They
when she
came
got
from when
D6.
Delilah went into heat,
Yeah, I
and I
gotcha.
bought her nappies because I had her at the time, and I think I had to live at your house because my landlord was, grumpy. And I bought her nappies hoping that it would like collect it so I wouldn't have to clean up after her, but she hated them. So I only used two.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, got it.
It absolutely isn't me because I cleaned that house from top to bottom before you moved in.
Except for the 50
That's
huntsmen.
3 years ago. You can donate those nappies
Well, I
now.
keep
I'll
saving
take
them
them.
for someone. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, Keish, what's your vibe?
My vibe this week is actually a music playlist. And the way that I stumbled upon this was actually quite funny. So my mum's partner and her came to visit, it'd have to be like nearly 6 months ago now. And we were sitting in the lounge room and I was like, hey, Charlie, what would you like to listen to? What type of music would you like me to put on? And he turned to me and he said, there's this playlist that I've really been enjoying. It's called 70s Easy Listening Mix. And
I
was
thought
like,
you were going to say K-pop Demon Hunters. And I was like, yes, same, babe.
K-pop.
Same. Welcome to my household.
So, he's in his 70s, but it's music from the 70s. Ever since we started playing this, it is exclusively the only music playlist that we seem to play in the house. It just has really good music in it. It's got 3.5 hours, 50 songs. I'm pretty sure that they do change them, but it's got people like Fleetwood Mac, Elton John, Eric Clapton, Billy Joel,
I love this.
Yeah, good classics that I don't think are overplayed too much.
Yeah.
So it's one of those playlists that I think it doesn't really matter the age of the people that are there. Everyone's going to enjoy it. And I find it quite hard to find them. When people are coming over and I've always felt this like little bit of pressure to be like, what type of music do I think they're into? Like,
I never play music when people come over.
Really?
No, mate, I'm a weirdo.
But it's like, I don't really have people come over.
She's like,
Sorry.
Oh, all right, mate. I had to cut a girl when she's down. That's because you don't have friends.
You don't have
That's
dinner
'cause you're a
parties.
loser.
invite me over. Cook me dinner. I'll come.
Mate, I have Marley Spoon every night of the week. If you want a Marley Spoon, come over.
You collect the nappies. But yeah, it's a playlist that's on Spotify. It is called 70s Easy Listening Mix. I'm pretty sure that they actually have them for each decade because we've also listened to the 80s one and the 90s one, but the 70s is where it's at.
Okay.
I love this. I love a new playlist. All right, let's get into the questions.
Question number 1. Hi, guys. I would love some advice on a situation I find myself in. I have been a mother for 35 years and we have always celebrated Mother's Day on the Sunday that Mother's Day falls on. But now my daughter-in-law has hijacked it and I don't, that's a pretty big word. My daughter-in-law has hijacked it, and now I have to meet my son and other kids on the Saturday before because now Mother's Day is all about her. I have put up with it and haven't said anything to my son because I don't want to put him in a bad position, but I'm really hurt by it. I think it's really selfish that she doesn't see how the situation would make me feel. We should be celebrating the day all together. Do I speak to them about it or do I just let it go?
Ooh. Okay. Firstly, I want to come to this with a lot of sensitivity because obviously this is something that's very hard for you. I think in the way in which the question has been worded, it is unfair that you are blaming your daughter-in-law for this because she hasn't hijacked it. She's not stopping her husband from seeing you. They are.
We don't know that. That's the thing. We just don't know what the actual intricacies are.
Totally. But also, your husband is also his own person and they can have conversations. I think it's unfair to assume that just because your daughter-in-law has become the mum in that equation, that she has hijacked Mother's Day from you. I also understand why it's become a really important thing for them to celebrate as a family because she's a new mum and probably does a lot and he wants to make sure that she feels super appreciated on a day that's really, really important to her as well. My question is a couple of things. Does she have a mum? Are they celebrating Mother's Day with her mum as well? Like, is there a reason why her mum is not in this equation? Does she have a fractured relationship with her mum? What's that relationship like? Because it would be a whole different situation if he was like, oh, I hang out with my wife and we go and see her mum on Mother's Day. Like that's really, really hurtful. But if it's that they have made time specifically for you the week before and then they have time on the day for themselves, part of me is like, okay, this is going to sound really harsh. Part of me is like, I understand that it's hurtful, but they've made decisions for their nucleus family that work for them. And I think it's not necessarily about the wife being the evil person in this equation. I kind of think it's a mutual thing that they've come to.
I disagree. Not disagree with that it's the wife's fault. Like you don't know that. They're in a relationship. Your son is his own person as well. I agree with that. I think absolutely you for Mother's Day, if you guys are all in the same place, which you obviously are if you're all hanging out the week before, I think you should be doing something all together as well. You're a mum. She's a mum. The other brothers and siblings are mums. Like if everyone is a mum, why can't you all just go and hang out and have lunch together and all celebrate so no one feels left out? I feel very differently about it. And maybe that's because I look at the way my family does it and that's how my family does it. My brothers and sisters get together and their kids come and then we go with my mum and dad and then we go get my nana. There's like 4 generations of mums there because Mother's Day doesn't just stop when somebody becomes a new mum. Like everyone, if you have your mum on this planet, I think if you are around the corner that you should be making a bit of an effort to all be together. Of course, you can do whatever you want in your family.
But I think it's complex because there's multiple mums in this equation. There's her family. So is she then expected to like her mum to come and do Mother's Day with the husband? I don't know.
Well, they haven't said anything about it, which makes me think maybe that her mum, maybe they live in a different town. I don't know. But the fact that you said, oh, we all catch up the weekend before. But having said that, if you've never said anything, you can't be upset if maybe they are not coming to the party. And what I mean by that is I think it's okay for next year. Maybe you bring something up and say, hey, it'd be really nice if we could all have lunch together on Mother's Day. What do you think? And once you've said it, if they then say, no, we've got plans, it's very hurtful, but there's nothing you can really do. But I do think don't quite blame the daughter-in-law.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's okay to say it. It's okay to say, hey, I'd really love to see you guys and celebrate Mother's Day together this year. Do you think we can all have lunch? I think that's fine.
And I don't want to say that I disagree. I don't disagree. I think there's multiple ways that you can do this. I would feel very differently if they weren't making time for you. I would feel very differently if they hadn't allocated a day where you guys all agreed, where they made you feel special. If they were like, you know what, we're doing Mother's Day and all he did was give you a call or something. But the fact that the weekend beforehand is all about you and is all about your Mother's Day, to me, I kind of go, well, I do feel like they're making sure that you are included in a way and that you have a day that's special to you. I understand that it's not on the actual Mother's Day, but there could be complex reasons as to why. And I know I keep coming back to like, well, what is happening with her mum? Like, why is her mum not there? But it is a big part of the equation. We don't know what that looks like. Maybe her mum's died and she wants to just spend it with her husband. I don't know what the reasons are. Maybe she has a really complex relationship with her mum. Maybe her mum can't be there, whatever it is. Or maybe her mum also is there, but she doesn't want to come and have Mother's Day with you. And so then therefore it's like, well, then she has to choose which mum she's going to do Mother's Day with.
I don't know. I just don't think this is that deep of a question. You don't have to spend the whole day together. You can have brunch with one mum, lunch with another, dinner with another, afternoon tea, high tea.
Okay, but this is where I disagree with that. The reason why that is annoying is because it is her day. It's very few days.
But it's the mum's day too.
Totally.
They're all mums.
But she doesn't have to, on the day that's important to her, to be able to spend either with her kids or by herself or with her husband, whatever it is, to celebrate what she's doing in her nucleus family. She also doesn't have to then be carted around to spend dinner with his mum and spend dinner with breakfast with her mum. It then no longer becomes about her day as well. So it's like, that's why it's tricky, because if you're trying to make everyone happy on Mother's Day, especially when there's complex relationships, you don't end up having the day that you want. So that's why I'm like, I think it's okay to have these alternate days that you do things on. I did a little bit of a deep dive because I was like, what is it that I'm trying to explain in terms of like feeling as though I'm a mum and wanting the day, without it sounding selfish or unreasonable, but like wanting it to be a day that I don't have to compromise for everybody else and it gets to be about me for a change. And there's an article, which is quite old now, but it's from Mamma Mia. It's an opinion piece and it's titled, "Sorry to My Mother-in-Law, but Mother's Day is not about you anymore." And I think some people would have conflicting views about this, but what she's saying is that her husband is very connected with his mum. They do lots of things for his mum all the time, and that Mother's Day over the last 11 years or whatever it is, she's got quite a few kids herself, has become almost like Christmas. Everyone goes to her house. All the grandchildren go to her house, and she's like, I don't understand why Mother's Day then becomes about that one specific mum. She's like, I have my own mum, but also why am I not doing the thing that I want on the day that should be about me? And so I think it's, for some people, really hard to strike the right balance. And what does that balance look like? And I guess where maybe this might be interpreted as selfish, but I do think that when you become a family with someone, you become that nuclear family. And I'm not saying you just disregard your parents, but what I am saying is that you have very few days where you get to actually celebrate the fact that you are a mum, right? That you have had this experience and that you are a family. And I think that that also has value and weight. So long as you have days that are allocated or you're still spending time and being inclusive in other ways, I don't know if I see it as...
Oh, see, I actually feel like crying when you read that heading. Sorry, Mother's Day is not about you anymore. That makes me so upset for that mum. She's still a mum. She still raised you. She doesn't have little kids. And I understand what you're saying, Laura. And of course, this is so dependent to your family dynamic, whether you're close to them, whether they're together, whether they live away. Like, are they in your life all year? Like, of course, there's 100 different things that weigh into this conversation. I can only base my answer based off what you've written in, and what you've written in makes it sound like you're all literally in the same town.
I think we're assuming that this person is.
We are making an assumption. I'm making assumptions based off what you've said. Hey, I want to do what I want on the day, so we're going to do it the weekend before with all the other kids. Of course, that's also fine, and it's beautiful that you're all catching up. But like at the end of the day, I don't know. For me, it's just our mums are not always going to be here, and I just think if you can spend an hour like with your mum or with your son, and it's not, of course, you don't want to put out their whole day. You would have to go to them if they've got little kids. Like you can't, the article that you just said, Laura, like I don't think that's right by making everyone drag their old kids around to
And I mean, I think she said every Mother's Day for the last few years, our family has to drive 2 hours to go and see my mother-in-law.
That's different.
We gather around for a family celebration. It's a festival of grandchildren, our uncles and aunts, and small plates of cheese, dips still in their plastic packets. She's like, it is all about the grandmother. It's never about me or about the other mums. And it's turned into Christmas. She said, my mum is happy with a phone call and a card, but my husband is fixated with making sure his mother is the happiest person on Mother's Day. That to me would piss me off way more than the reverse. You know?
But that's a very unique situation.
I don't think it is.
I think that there's a part where it's like, as the grandparent, the grandmother, are you expecting for the mother to do more work on her own Mother's Day as well? Are you expecting for her to like get all her kids ready and dressed and make food and contribute to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, we're not going to agree on this one. I think there's no reason that you cannot say to your mum, I mean, sorry, I'm talking to the daughter-in-law and the son now, right? Like, you cannot say to your mum, hey, come over for Mother's Day, pop in, we'll have coffee. Like, you know, as the person that's written this in, that it sounds like your life is more malleable, right? So I don't believe, unless you have a super complex relationship, if you are a quote unquote normal family with normal relationships, there should not be a reason that you cannot say like, hey, I'm going to pop in on Mother's Day. I can bring some coffee and cake, have an hour together. I don't know. I just think we're putting too much emphasis on the new mum being more important than your parent. I think we forget our parents a lot as we get older. I think that we don't realize the way that things hurt people. And this is a really good example of that. Like the listener that's written in, she's been a mother for 35 years. So, you know, I can imagine is a little bit older and she still has really hurt feelings about her kids not wanting to spend Mother's Day with her. You don't ever not become a mum just because your kids aren't little anymore. And I just think sometimes we forget those feelings. That's all.
No, I agree with that. I do come back to the thing though, is that they have made an entire day to spend with her and to say like, we're doing Mother's Day on this day because we've got plans on that day. Like it's the same reason why sometimes some families do a Christmas on Christmas Eve and then they do another Christmas on Christmas Day. Like I don't think if the date is necessarily the most specifically important thing, when there's multiple families that have to be kept happy, it means that sometimes you have to move things around. And so I don't know. For me, I don't think it's as big a deal. If it's a big deal to you, the only way to deal with it is to have a conversation. But I also think that as parents, we do at some point have to allow our children to have their nuclear family and manage their household and manage their lives in a way that they choose to. And I absolutely agree that sometimes it's going to be hurtful. But if they are still doing everything to make you included by having a day that they're like, Mum, this is your Mother's Day. We're having a Mother's Day. I don't know. I don't know whether I would interpret it the same way, but maybe I'll reach that destination when I'm a mum. All right, question number 2. My boyfriend let another girl sleep in his bed for 3 weeks.
Oh, that needs context.
I know it does, but also I feel like the red flags are already screaming at us. I was recently dating a guy in the very early days. We'd only been on 6 to 8 dates at this time. And he had a German nanny / au pair staying with him and his mates for 3 weeks to help a friend out. He has 3 female housemates. And this German girl could have stayed in any of their beds or on their massive 5-seater lounge. But instead, he let her share his queen bed with him for 3 weeks, I found out. He claimed it was purely platonic and that I had nothing to worry about. I found this really strange though, and it made me question his intentions with both of us. When I went over to his place on our 5th or so date, he had to text her asking her not to come into his room while I was there. All of her stuff was in his ensuite and on his bedside table. I made a joke about how weird it was. He got super defensive and accused me of being insecure, saying, this isn't going to work if you get jealous every time I talk to another girl.
What a fucking gaslighter.
What a dick. He also insisted that this was a normal thing to do to allow someone to share your bed without having sex with them. I don't think it is, but I felt almost gaslit when I questioned him. That's because you were. What are your thoughts? I know we were not technically in an exclusive relationship yet, but we'd established from the get-go that neither of us were casually dating anyone else or seeing anyone, and that we were going to be dating and looking for our life partner, quote unquote. Okay. The question in this is kind of like, what is she supposed to do with this knowledge, knowing that like she knows that they shared a bed for 3 weeks whilst they were dating. They weren't exclusive, but it's more the gaslighting about him telling her that this is a very normal situation.
It's not normal. It's not normal. Also, can we just circle on back to the fact that there were 3 female housemates in that house? That either she could have shared their bed.
Totally.
The girls could have shared a bed, like 2 of the housemates could have shared a bed together and she went into that. That she could have slept on the lounge. You could have got her a mattress. You could have got like a blow-up mattress from Kmart. It's not expensive. He is gaslighting the shit out of you. No, it's not normal. If he's telling you that it's normal to share another bed with a woman for 3 weeks just because, lie. Secondly, it's not a normal thing to do. It doesn't make it okay just because they don't have sex. And you're not going to know if they had sex. And I'm not saying that to like scare you. But at the end of the day, like who knows what's going on in there. But it still doesn't make it okay because they're not having sex. It's not like they're childhood friends. They've been best friends for 20 years and she's come to stay and they could think of nothing worse and they're putting a pillow fort between them. This is just like probably a hot young nanny that's just come to a new country. There's no way I would be letting her share a bed with my partner. Like, it's the whole thing is absolutely ludicrous.
It's okay. Firstly, there's a couple of things I want to unpack from this. Did he already agree to this prior to you guys dating? Because obviously, like you only been on, it's very early days, 6 to 8 dates. Like, was this already prearranged or something?
Probably agreed for her to come and stay at the house, not in my bed. Sorry, I already told her she could sleep in my bed with me.
I know, but like I'm questioning, like, you know, where did the friendship come from? Like, is everyone in that house? Did every single person in that house know that this au pair was coming? In terms of like they all are friends with this friend, they were all doing a favor, or was it you, like the guy that you just started seeing, who was doing a favor for someone else and had already said to his housemates, oh, hey, this au pair needs somewhere to stay. Do you mind if she stays in my bed? And was that already prearranged? Because there's a few parts to this that, like, yes, it's fucking weird. We all know that, but maybe I can't believe I'm saying this.
There's no
potentially they're not necessarily hooking up, is what I'm saying.
Laura, there's no reason she needs to be in his bed with him. There's a 5-seater lounge. He could be on the lounge and let her sleep on her own.
Yes, that's the lounge situation. Absolutely,
there is room. It's not like, hey, I pre-said that this woman could stay in my bed with me. I couldn't possibly take myself out of this situation.
But
now.
for example, you can't just make the assumption that she would sleep in bed with someone else. So for later, and I use this as an example. When I used to live with Ness and Jess, obviously we all had, and there was like, it was a 3-bedroom house. It was 3 bedrooms. And I had a friend who was a guy come and stay with me from the UK. So platonic, like could not have been more platonic. I met him when I was in the Philippines with big groups of friends. He was coming to Australia and I was like, dude, sleep in my house. He came, he slept on my couch, right? He did not sleep in bed with me. Fine, normal. I cleared it with them. They were fine. I'm never going to expect him to sleep in their beds. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't going to be like, oh, sorry, if you have a problem with him sleeping on the couch, I'm actually just started dating a guy. Can he sleep in your bed? Do you know what I mean? Like, I was never going to do that. So what I'm saying is he may have made that offer. The housemates might have been fine with it, not knowing that he was going to meet you. That's the only caveat I have to this. But the other thing I want to say is, do you know for sure, like, do you know for absolute sure that he messaged her and said, oh, don't come home? Because that to me, if you know for sure that message was sent, then yeah, okay, she knew that you existed. There's not really like a dynamic going on between them that's potentially sexual, because, you know, that would have just caused a whole heap more problems. He might have just told you that he messaged her that to make you feel as though that relationship was way more platonic than it was. She could have been out with girlfriends or something that night. Who fucking knows, right? So it could have been sexual. We just don't know. But the end result of this is, and where I want to leave it is not normal behavior, and him telling you that it's normal and telling you that you are overreacting for having an opinion on this is gaslighting.
No, this is the part that really sends me over the edge. This isn't going to work if you get jealous every time I talk to another girl. Sorry, you've had a girl living in your room, in your bed, and in your ensuite for 3 weeks. The gaslighting here is next level. Like, this isn't, you didn't catch me speaking to someone when I was getting a drink at the bar and I stood with too long before I brought the drink back to you. The deflection and making this your fault, like you are overreacting, you are insecure, you are jealous. Like, if you're going to do this, I can't be with you. I'm not convinced you should be with him. You're 8 dates deep and he's sleeping with another girl in his bed for 3 weeks.
And making you feel bad for having some sort of reaction to that, for feeling like, is this normal?
Like, I'd be 8 dates in and then I'd be 8 dates out. I'm out. I'd be tapping out. I'd be like, you do you. If you think it's okay. Because I can't remember the quote, but I'm sure it was Esther Perel. But it's the idea of like everything's Esther Perel. But when you start dating early, right, you're setting your boundaries as to what's okay.
Yes.
So if you are 8 dates in could be 8 weeks, could be a couple of months, could be a couple of weeks. We don't know how quickly the dates were. But
could
like
be 2 weeks.
But 8 dates are 8 dates, right? Like, I fell in love after 3 dates. If you're setting the tone and the boundaries that it is acceptable for him to do this, and he's convinced you that it has to be okay to go forward. Like, he's saying that, like, this is normal, and if you're going to get jealous, we can't go forward. If you do go forward, that boundary's then been set.
Totally. He's allowed to have chicks sleep in his bed whenever because they're platonic. He's not fucking them.
Exactly.
And if you think that that's an issue, that's your problem. You've got an issue. You've got the issue.
He's not letting you sleep in there so you know they're not fucking. Like, who knows?
Also, did you meet this girl? That's what I want to know. I know that he texted her and you're telling us this, but did you meet her? Because I don't believe the version. I don't believe the defensiveness and the accusations that he started hurling. His response to your very reasonable, hey, this makes me feel a bit weird, is to me the part that gets very murky and strange here. And I think if you didn't meet her, if he told you that he texted her, to me it reeks of he had a chick sleeping in his bed for 3 weeks. She was here. They obviously were fucking getting it on. And he also was dating simultaneously. His housemates knew that that wasn't serious because she was only here for 3 weeks. And, you know, so they weren't going to be like, oh God, he's dating multiple people. They're just like, whatever, live your life. But he's lying to you.
He might have told her that you were just some chick he's been on one date with and it's not real. So he could have a 3-week relationship with her. Like, you don't even know what he said to her who you were, you know? And I say that because that's what my psycho ex that had a double life used to say. He's like, oh, she's a girl that I caught up with once. You know, I'd been with him 2 years, but that's how he played it off. You don't know what he's telling her. Like, they might have, look, it might be platonic. It might not. They might have been hooking up. At the end of the day, it's not relevant to me because of the relevance here for me is the gaslighting, the way he's treating you and making you feel like it's your fault. Like, for me, I'd be out of there.
Do you know what I would say? I would say that having a person of the opposite sex, if you're in a heterosexual relationship or vice versa, sleeping in your bed is not normal. If you're like having a platonic male friend sleeping in your bed is actually not the norm. I remember when I was in a relationship very long time ago, we'd been together for a really long time. We were doing long distance and he had one of his friends sleep in his bed. She'd come home from a night out. She slept in his bed. I think she slept in his bed 2 nights. I was so fucking angry. I was so angry because I was like, hey, that's a boundary that you crossed and you didn't check that with me. And he's like, but she's just my mate. And I was like, cool. Why didn't you sleep on the couch? Why did she sleep in your bed? She's also mates with everyone else in that house. You're the only one that has a girlfriend. So
and you're like, and she's hot.
So why your bed? And I never, well, to be fair, I think I always had some trust issues with him because I don't think he was always transparent with me. But it really, for me, I was like, there is not ever a reason why she needs to sleep in your bed. You could have been inconvenienced for a night and slept on the couch. And so I think it's this, like we keep coming back to, this gaslighting around what isn't normal.
I mean, I do have one counter story to this. I've had straight guys, even ones that I've hooked up with in the past that, you know, many, many, many moons beforehand, sleep in my bed and it be a completely platonic situation, nothing sexual happened, blah, blah, blah. The difference is I would never do that if I was dating someone or in a relationship with someone.
Exactly.
You know, like, it's so disrespectful to that person.
100%.
Totally. Like, I've slept in a bed next to a guy and it's been platonic.
But for me, it was even with someone that I had previously dated and had previously slept with.
Yeah.
But it was years and years beforehand and we were still good friends, but we weren't romantic and we weren't going to be. And we were completely fine to sleep in the same bed, but I wasn't dating someone at the same time that I was like, hiding that from, you know, I think that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, there's no girl that is sleeping in Ben's bed. Like, they're just not. Except Becky, his sister. But that's it. I'll let that slide. Okay, next question. Does my friend want to be me? I have a situation where one of my good friends keeps copying everything that I do. At first, it was cute and I tried to see it as a little bit of flattery, but now it's getting to the point where it's incredibly irritating. It started off with small things, like she started doing reformer Pilates because... It's so stupid. Like, you're not the only person that does reformer Pilates. Sorry. She started doing reformer Pilates because I did it. She started with the exact same nutrition coach that I'm using. She purchased a Stanley Cup because I have one. She joined the exact same gym that I go to, even though there are multiple gyms closer to her. She got Botox in her jaw the same day that I told her I was getting mine done, and more recently has planned a trip to New Zealand 3 days after me telling her I was going to New Zealand. At what point is this just fucking weird, and how do I stop myself from losing my shit every time I find out she's done something identical to me? For context, this is just a few examples. There are way more.
I don't know how I feel about this. I actually...
I know how I feel about it.
Keisha's sitting there like, fuck off.
Keisha can't talk about it because she's a mini-me.
Did you write this question in by any chance?
Keisha is a mini-me. I know how I feel about it. She's not copying you, but she might be inspired by... No, sorry, Keish, she's not copying her.
Keisha's like, I'm not inspired by you.
Starting Pilates, everyone does Pilates. Getting Botox, sorry, everyone gets Botox. She might not have known...
I mean, that's not true.
It is true. If someone's telling you it's not... Yeah. She might not have known that a jaw slimming Botox was a thing. You've told her and she's like, far out, I would love to get that. New Zealand, not a hot take. Not many places to go internationally from Australia that's close.
I get it. I think each thing in isolation sounds silly, but it's the accumulation of all of them that you're like, this is getting exhausting.
But that
would be a bit of identity.
That would be you with me if we're going to do that. And I'm not saying, but But it's not.
That's why I revel in whenever you copy me with it. It's very few percentage of the time.
I don't think it's different if you've gone to buy some clothes and then she's turning up the next day. I mean, Keisha's done that too. But I've also done that to Keishia. But that's different, right? If like she's turning up as a clone of you. But the things that you have said, like a nutrition coach, right? Maybe she also needs one. People want recommendations for that. People are like, hey, who do you use? The number of times that I would only use someone that's come recommended. Like I'm going to go and ask my friends, hey, who's that person that you use for this? Do you recommend them? Great, I'll use it too. Like to me, this question is wild. The fact that you think that this is copying you, I would be taking it as a bit of inspiration and flattery. If she starts turning up and like, if she's like following you around and looks like a clone of you and like, I don't know, there are obviously levels of this for sure that would become uncomfortable. But the things you have listed, she goes to my gym because I go to it. She bought a Stanley Cup. Every second person has a Stanley Cup.
I mean, I read this and I was like, I think it's okay that your friends get enthusiastic about the things that you like. And if you're like sharing something or you have something, your friend's like, oh my God, I love that. Oh my God, I love that. Like she obviously really likes your style. She potentially struggles with her own style. And I'm not saying she struggles with her own sense of identity, but I think sometimes you see something on someone and you're like, oh my God, I love that.
Like me with your shoes.
Maybe, yeah, like...
Very similar.
To be fair, Britt ran out and bought the same shoes as me. I know, hard to believe.
I've got multiple colours. I've got them all.
But it's true. Like, I think that there is maybe like a little bit of inspiration is kind of the probably rather than, it's not adoration. She's not trying to be you, but there is like, she sees something that you're doing or you've talked about something with enthusiasm and she's like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. I would love to go there. I don't understand why this is so annoying. And I say that because I'm not experiencing it. So like maybe it's easy to say when you're not on the receiving end of it. But I think it's quite superficial. I'm worried about how I put this because I also don't want to be offensive to you. But I think it's quite superficial to be super hung up on things that aren't really problematic. Like if she's just bought a Stanley Cup and she's gone to New Zealand and she liked a jumper that you wore once and she bought the same one, like does that take away from what you share in terms of the quality of your friendship and what she brings to the table in terms of supporting you, showing up in your friendship, being enthusiastic for you? Like, I don't know. I would say weigh it up. Is it because she's annoying you now? Like, do you not get those other things from the friendship? And so there's like a real spotlight on the fact that she's just copying and kind of mirroring, but not actually providing anything of value that's different.
Keishia and I are at the point where we need to message each other before catching up to make sure we're not wearing the same thing. Like we have so many of the same types.
You copied me with the swim shorts.
I absolutely did. But because I saw them and I was like, they're so cute. That's literally how the world works. Like that's, for me, I think it's crazy. Like I genuinely read this and I know that this isn't the answer that you want because it's obviously really bothering you and like you're uncomfortable by it for some reason. But like we're here to give you the truth. My truth for this is that like I don't see the problem in it. Like I've been to New Zealand loads of times, right? Keishia went to New Zealand. She went to these cute cafes. I was like, so cute. Where was that? I went to New Zealand, tracked down that cafe, went to the cafe. Like, I don't understand why you're upset that she's also going to go on a holiday to a place that 80% of Australians go to. But for me, if it is that much of a big issue for you, don't tell her you're going to get Botox. If you're getting something that you don't want her to copy, don't tell her. If you're that uncomfortable,
I think like if you have to get to a point where you're moderating and keeping things from your friend because you don't want them to copy, I just actually think that maybe your friendship isn't based on anything that's of real quality and value. Because if it was, if you shared all those other aspects that like made you really excited to be around your friend, I don't think you would care that she does some of the similar things to you. I think you would also be like, yes, girl, that jumper looks fucking sick on you. But the fact that you don't have that reaction, the fact that you just have the reaction of annoyance, to me makes me think that that's where your friendship is at. Like your friend annoys you. Like, I don't know. I think that there's more going on here because to me, it's so superficial.
As a copycat, weirdly, I'm actually going to defend her in this. I can see how it would be annoying. It's kind of like having a younger sibling. But my point being is that if it did annoy you and you turned around and said to me, Keishia, I need you to stop copying my shit because we're turning up to these places, we're becoming the same person and I want a bit of identity. I would have to be like, that's probably fair enough. I will take that feedback on board. No. And I would maybe try and seek out a couple of things that are a bit more individual. Like, I don't know, maybe these things kind of create a sense of identity for the person who's written the question in. She feels as though like there's nothing she can do that is just hers, and that everything she does gets copied by this person, and she's like, go and get your own thing. Okay, it's giving older sibling vibe to me.
Yeah, I get that.
I just laughing when I think about it. Keisha rolls up. She bought the same car as me. She rolls up in a car. Identical.
I drove Brits and
Even
I was
the
like,
same
this
colour.
is great.
Identical make and model.
Do you know the funniest bit? I was tossing up between that one and Matt's car.
Then you walk into Keisha's house. It's my house. It's my lounge room. My same furniture. Not mine that she's taken. Like, she's been so inspired by the furniture. She's bought the same coffee tables and she's got the
Yeah, I
same
did do that.
lounge. And
No, it was your lounge.
yeah, but
That's how much of a copycat I actually am.
but there's just no part of that. That's not what our friendship is based on. There's no part of
Yeah.
that bothers me. I don't know. I just wonder if there's something else that's annoying you in the friendship. That's what I think there is.
That's what I mean. I think that you've reached a destination in your friendship where you're not getting all the other qualities. I could not care less. There is not one iota of my being that cares if my friends were to buy the same things as me. You know, and like obviously if we were going out and we both rocked up wearing the same things constantly, I'd be like, oh, dude, like, come on, like, at least let me wear something that we're not dressed the same as. Like, that's a different thing.
We know we're never going to turn up in the same shoes. Though.
We know we're fine. But the thing is like, if it's just experiences or it's Botox or it's going to Pilates, like, why does that offend you so much? I think is the bigger question. Because that to me is really, really odd.
Maybe it's like I would understand more if you'd got this really something more unique, right? Like you've got a tattoo that's really unique and then she's gone and got the same tattoo. That to me, if you wrote that to me, I'd be like, yeah, okay, a little bit weird. But these things are so generic. Like she started doing Pilates. She got Botox. She bought a water bottle. She could be copying the girl from work that also does Pilates and has a water bottle. You know, like any other. I don't know. I just find it really unusual that it's bothering you so much. And I think you're probably being annoyed by a lot of other things in the friendship. So that's our hot take. We think that probably you need to let it go a little bit.
Start copying her back.
Well, she can't because it's just like she's just copying herself. Well, that is it for today, guys. Please keep your questions coming into Life Uncut podcast. Put Ask Uncut at the top. You'll always stay anonymous. You can ask us anything you want. And also you're accidentally unfiltered. Any story that you have about literally anything in the world that you think that we might want to know, chances are we do want to know it. So you can also jump on the YouTube. We put everything on the YouTube. It's a different experience when you get to watch it. So if you haven't gone and had a little look on there, we highly encourage you to do that.
Also, don't forget the Life Uncut discussion group, which you can jump into because that is also a good place to get your anonymous questions answered. And that's it from us, guys. You know the drill.
Tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your dog, tell your friends, and share the love because
we love love.